Hello everyone. My name is Elise. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing so good today. We are doing a somewhat belated book haul. I'm doing a book haul for both the months of April and May combined. And honestly, this book haul is freaking huge. And I had originally combined them because I thought that May was going to be a very small book haul, but I have very graciously been gifted a lot of books from my mother-in-law. So that has blown up this book haul into a huge number. That's okay though. I'm excited. I'm happy for the free books. And for those of you keeping track in my books in and out goal for this year, which is my main priority this year, to get that goal where I want it to be, my gifted books don't count as books coming in. So that is gonna, I think, end up being my saving grace in the end. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the books. I think there are 19 books that we have to go through. So I will try and move through them fairly quickly. We're gonna start with the April books, then we'll move into the May books. And like usual, we're going to start with the pre-orders, and then we'll move into kind of like the rest of the things and maybe why I bought them, if I can even remember at this point anymore, because it's now like June 3rd, I think, is when I'm filming this. So it's been a while since I bought some of these. So for April, I think there are two pre-orders. Yeah, two pre-orders for the month of April. The first one being Enter Ghost by Isabella Hamad. This is published by Grove Press. And I pre-ordered the paperback of this. And I do definitely recommend that if you don't want to pre-order a hardcover copy of a book, which I rarely ever do. I will often pre-order the paperback version. So this is the paperback, and I have read this already. You'll see it in my wrap-up for the month of May. Yeah, wrap-up for the month of May, which might be my next video, and I really enjoyed it, but I'll leave my review for there. This one follows our main character, Sonia, who is an actress. She often works in the theater. She goes back to Haifa, which is where her family's from and where her sister is staying. And she gets kind of recruited into this production of Hamlet on the West Bank. And it's half about the production of Hamlet and half about her personal life. It's up for the Women's Prize right now. Not sure, at this time, the Women's Prize has not announced their winner, but this is a possibility, and I do think it would be really deserving of it. It's a great book, and I'm glad I have a copy for my collection. So that is Enter Ghost. Our other pre-order for the month of April is Love Junkie. This is by Robert Plunket, and it's published by New Directions. This is a republishing of this book. I think it initially came out in the 80s. If I'm remembering, or maybe it's the 90s. No, it came out in 1992, which is actually the year that I was born, if that's aging me. But I'm really excited to get to this. It follows our main character, who's a woman named, what's her name? Mimi, who moves to New York. She's in an unhappy marriage, and she meets this man named Joe, who is a porn star, and she starts getting wrapped up in helping him create a successful business. This also does, I think, cover some of the AIDS epidemic, and I'm really excited to get to this. I also think this new cover is amazing, and yeah, really happy to have it in my collection. And I haven't read a New Directions book in a hot minute. Is that real? I think I haven't read a New Directions book in a while, so I'm excited to get to something by them. And then we have some books from Indie Bookstore Day. Actually, I think the rest of the books, oh no, that's a lie. So April was National Poetry Month, and I did pick up some poetry collections outside of Independent Bookstore Day and on Independent Bookstore Day. So the two that I picked up beforehand are Girls That Never Die by Safia, Elhillo. This one is published by One World. I can't remember where I first heard about this collection. I did hear about it on someone's channel, but I can't remember, and it was a while ago. And it says that these are intimate poems that explore feminine shame and violence and imagine what liberation from these threats might look like. Sounds amazing. I get why I wanted to read it. So really excited to get to this one. Cover's also very cool. So that was my first poetry pickup for National Poetry Month. And then I also got this little slip of a thing, and that is Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear by Mosab Abu Toha. And this one's published by City Lights book that I've read a couple books from previously, but never any poetry. These poems emerge directly from the experience of growing up and living in constant lockdown and often under direct attack. And this author is Palestinian. That's part of why I picked it up. This is showing their experience growing up in Gaza. So I'm really excited to get to this one. My bookstore had it featured when I walked in, so that's lovely to see. And there are some pictures throughout this as well. I'll show you some of them there. So really excited for this collection too. So that is Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear. And then we're getting into the Seattle Indie Bookstore Day purchases. I really had high hopes of, like, I was like, okay, max 3 books. I want to stick to 2, max 3 books. And then that went out the window because of course I want to support bookstores. I went to 3 different bookstores that day, and I saved the little pamphlet. We have a passport thing in Seattle, so it lists all of the bookstores that take place on the back, and you get stamps when you go and purchase from them, and then if you do a certain amount you get bonuses or like coupons basically for discounts at that store at a later date. So it's a really great thing to participate in. I never go to all of them, but maybe one day. So for this, I ended up getting 5 books. So let's get into them. Firstly, let's talk about the poetry. I did get some more poetry because, again, National Poetry Month. And I had been looking for this collection, Instructions for Traveling West by Sullivan. This one is by the Dial Press, and I picked this one up because it was recommended as a comp title for people who like Kate Baer's poetry, which I really enjoy and I've talked about many times on my channel in the past. So I wanted to pick this up since it was a comp title for it. I don't even really know what it's about, but let's see. It says, first, you must realize you're homesick for all the lives you're not living. Then you must commit to the road and the rising loneliness, to the sincere thrill of coming apart. I can definitely see that why that might be compared to Kate Baer. So really excited for this one. Like the cover art as well. The covers these days are just magical. I'm so happy that we're in an age of publishing where they really put a lot of effort into the covers. So excited for that one. And then we have Raised by Wolves, 50 Poets on 50 Poems, a Grey Wolf anthology. This is published by Grey Wolf Press. And this one I picked up. I first heard about it on Sarah's channel from Eyes on Indie. And this one is coming out for Grey Wolf's 50th anniversary, which happened in May. And it's 50 Grey Wolf poets who have been published by Grey Wolf before. And there are accompanying essays from other poets about that poem. How many times can I say poets or poem in one sentence? So yeah, I'm really excited for this. I like poetry collections that have essay elements afterwards. It's a really great way to learn more about poetry and to get to see someone else's perspective processing through a poem. So I'm really excited to get to this and have it in my collection, and just excited to help get to celebrate Grey Wolf's 50 years being an independent publisher. I do love them, and yeah, excited to have this in my collection. So that's all of the poetry. Then we have a book that I had set my eyes on. It's another Grey Wolf book that I wanted to get, and that is The Tree Doctor. This is by Marie Mutsuki-Mockett, and this was on my anticipated releases list for 2024. I have also read this one, so you'll be seeing it in my May wrap-up. So I won't talk about my review here, but this follows a woman. What's her name? Oh, she's unnamed. And she is in Carmel, California, and she's stuck there in lockdown. So the beginning of the pandemic happens while she's there. She's from Hong Kong, and her family is currently in Hong Kong, meaning her husband and her 2 daughters. She is in Carmel because her mother is ill and in a nursing home, and she's trying to spend time with her mother at the end of her life. So she's living by herself for the first time in a really long time. in her 40s, and she's having a lot of questions about the life choices that have led her to this point. While that's all happening, she meets this tree doctor at a nursery because she's working on in her family home's garden. And he's also very invested in the garden, and they start up a kind of friendship / relationship with one another. And it's really introspective and got interesting commentary on aging and what it means to be a family, all these really fascinating things. So I'll talk about my review of this again in the next video, but that is The Tree Doctor. Then we have an anthology of short stories that I'm very excited for. This is the Best Literary Translations of 2024. It's published by Deep Vellum. This is the first one that they've done, and this is going to be a new yearly thing that they put out. This one is edited by Jane Hirschfield, and then it has a bunch of co-editors over on the side here. This is exactly what it says it is. It's a anthology of literary translations that have been translated from other languages into English in the previous year. And I'm so excited to get to this. Obviously, I love translated literature. I'm often trying to get more people to read translated literature, and that's a lot of what I talk about on my channel. So I'm really excited that something like this is existing from an independent publisher in the US that I really love. I deeply enjoy Deep Vellum and have had the privilege of going to their store, and I trust their selections in these as well. So can't wait. I'm sure this is going to be fantastic, and I'm sure I will collect these every year that they come out. So that is Best Literary Translations of 2024. And then I have a free book that was gifted to me because it was Independent Bookstore Day, and it's one that I'm really excited about, so I'm very grateful for it. And this is Off-White by Astrid Roemer, and it's translated by Lucy Scott and David McKay. This is published by Two Lines Press, and I should say it's translated from the Dutch. And I really want to read this author's previous novel that came out from Two Lines Press, On a Woman's Madness, which definitely won an award last year. I can't quite remember, but I really wanted to get that book. I'd been waiting for it to come out in paperback because it was first released in hardcover. And then this was gifted to me, which is her next book. So I'm actually going to read this one first now, and if I enjoy this, I will go buy On a Woman's Madness. This book takes place, it says, in 1966 on the Caribbean coast of South America, and we're following Grandma B, who's the proud cigar-smoking matriarch of the Vanta family. And it looks like Grandma B is starting to die, and she's aware that she's starting to die. So as she's approaching the end of her life, she's thinking a lot about the family members that she's lost, especially one of her favorite granddaughters, Helly, who has been sent away to the Netherlands because she had an affair with a white teacher when she was younger. So it sounds like this is going to be a book kind of where she's grappling with the decision to send that granddaughter away, also with what it means to be a family and the legacy that she's going to leave behind. So really excited for this. I didn't know the full premise until now, and I do think I could really enjoy this exploration of family. So that is Off-White. All right, we made it through the April books. So let's move quickly and swiftly on to the May books. The stack is huge. And again, we're going to start with the pre-ordered books. I think I only had one pre-order for this month, and that is The Wildcat Behind Glass by Alki. And this one's published by Restless Books. It's published under their imprint called Yonder, which is their children's imprint, and this is a middle grade book, which I don't often buy, but I think this could be a really good fit for me. And I should say this is translated by Karen Emmerich. This is translated from the Greek. So, and actually, I don't know if I've read something translated from the Greek before. I don't know. I can't think of anything recently that I've read translated from the Greek, so that's exciting. And this is a very famous kind of like fairy tale type of story that is about a young girl whose family owns this stuffed wildcat that they keep in their living room. and there's a lot of lore in their family about the Wildcat coming alive at night. And then one night the Wildcat comes alive to the young girl and tells her that they need to go on an adventure. So they start going from there, and I'm really excited for this. I didn't know it was hardcover when I bought it, but it is hardcover, so that's very nice, and excited for this one. Then I have a book that I picked up while I was traveling at Village Books in Bellingham. So if you're in Washington and you go to Bellingham, I love Village Books. We go every time we're up there. It's an amazingly beautiful 3-story bookstore that's absolutely lovely. And they've been an independent bookstore since 1980. So very cool. And there I was able to pick up Loved and Missed by Susie Boyt. This is by New York Review Books. And this has been all over BookTube in the past year or so. I actually saw this book there, I don't know, 6 months ago when I was previously in Bellingham, because again, we go every time we're there. And it was on sale because this book is actually used. You can see the green dot right there. So this is a used book, and I thought about buying it, but at the time I was like, no, I'm trying to rein in my book buying. I'm not going to read it anytime soon. And I have thought about it so many times since and been like, I wish I would have bought that book. It was only $10. I should have bought it. I want to read it. And so when we went back, I specifically looked to see if this book was still there, and it was. So I was able to get this on sale. I'm really happy to have it. This is following Ruth and her daughter Eleanor and her granddaughter Lily. So Eleanor is struggling with substance abuse, I think, and Ruth decides that she needs to become Lily's full-time caretaker. And it's almost like a way for Ruth to rewrite some of her own history as a mother by now having to mother her granddaughter. And I think it's just going to be a really nice meditation on love and, again, what it means to be family. So I think I could really love this, and everybody has been raving about it that's been reading it. So high hopes for this one for sure. And I didn't like this cover at first, but it has really grown on me. So that is Loved and Missed. Ooh, the books are falling. Now we're going to get into all the books that my mother-in-law has given me. So we just went to go visit them, and she sent me home with a huge stack of books, which I'm very grateful for. So we will run through them. Let's start with, like, there's one that I really wanted that I was going to read on my own, whether she gave it to me or not. And that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is published by Berkeley. I've started to amass an Emily Henry collection, and I have yet to read Emily Henry. So my mother-in-law has also given me Book Lovers, and then my friend Kat has given me People We Meet on Vacation. I have the paperbacks for all of them, which I prefer the paperbacks, and I have not read them yet. I do think I will really love her because everyone loves her, but I just read romance so few and far between. But I do want to get to Beach Read this summer because I want to read Beach Read first, since it's the first one that came out in publication order. So I'm really excited to have this. I will hopefully be reading this soon. And I'm thinking of doing another vlog of reading books my mother-in-law sent me because I've amassed a new big collection and need to get through some of those. So we're gonna potentially read this one for that vlog in the next couple of months. So that was the one I would have wanted regardless. The other one I had some interest in is Murder Your Employer. This is by Rupert Holmes, and it's published by Avid Reader Press. This was on my radar because I love murder mysteries, and the title obviously is very intriguing. It is going to be a series, but I haven't heard the best things about it, including from my mother-in-law, who I think read this for her book club, and I think she felt so about it. And that's what I've been hearing. So I'm happy I have it to try. Well, I still think it could work for me, but it might end up being a DNF if I'm not enjoying it. But happy to have it. And it is a beautiful book. Like, there's a gorgeous map on the end papers. So, and I love Sherlock Holmes. Obviously, I've been vlogging my way through the Sherlock Holmes books. So this one I'm definitely interested in. Now, the rest are probably a little bit more of a departure for me, but I think any of them could work for me, which is why I brought them. So we're gonna see. Firstly, we have a series that she actually had to do some extra convincing for me to take these two because I wasn't originally going to take them, but I'm glad that she did convince me. And that is The Kind Worth Killing and The Kind Worth Saving by Peter Swanson. These are published by William Morrow. I do truly think that I might like A Kind Worth Killing. I know this is much beloved in the thriller reading community. My one caveat is I don't tend to like domestic thrillers. So thrillers that center a marriage, often that like I find very like stereotypical or problematic, and then taking place in the suburbs. So those I don't love as much, and I do think that might be a little bit of this. So that's my only concern, but I've heard that the mystery is really well crafted, so I think I could still really enjoy this. People have not liked this one as much. So this one I'm even more iffy about, but I'm definitely going to try it and see how it goes. And obviously I think there's a chance I might like it or I wouldn't have brought them. So there's these two. Then we have another one, which I think is also a domestic thriller, and that is the new Lisa Jewell book, None of This Is True. And this one is published by Atria House, and so many people have loved this. For a while, I was hearing that, like, for people who do read a lot of Lisa Jewell's books, that this was one of their favorites. But I've also heard people hate this. I know it has a podcast element. I don't know much else. Let's see. When a famous podcaster interviews a stranger promising to divulge a story of a lifetime, secrets emerge that threaten to expose the truth of the lives they've both worked hard to project and protect. Okay, interesting. So we shall see. Again, I'm going to try it and see how it goes, but the new Lisa Jewell. Then we have First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. This one's published by Pamela Dorman Books, which I think is from Viking. And this one, I think, as I was looking through the blurb before I decided what to take, I think it's kind of spy-esque, because the little quick blurb at the top says, Evie Porter has everything a nice Southern girl could want. A doting boyfriend, a house with a white picket fence, a tight group of friends. The only catch, Evie Porter doesn't exist. So I think it's gonna be like she's assumed someone's identity. Not sure why. I'm thinking it's a spy thing because it references a little later like her mysterious boss, Mr. Smith. No idea. So I'm gonna try this one too, see how it goes. And then the last one here is probably the one that's most out of my comfort zone. And people might think this is crazy when I lift it up for me, but I think there's a chance that I could like this. So I want to at least try. And that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This is by, oh my gosh, who does this? Piatkus? Who is that publisher? Who is Piatkus? Oh, I think this is the UK version. So I think this might be Hachette. Okay, yeah, this is from Little Brown. So an imprint of Hachette. This was like the biggest book, was it last year? The beginning of last year, or the year before, which is really good for publishing. So thank you to this book for keeping publishing single-handedly alive. But this one is about dragons. So it's a fantasy that I think has a love triangle element. So I guess it's called Romantasy now, and takes place at a magical school that involves dragons. I rarely read fantasy. Again, if this could be fun, I'm down for a fun, plotty, exciting ride. And as long as it doesn't have things that really piss me off, that's the one thing that I am worried about. I just don't want any like stereotypical descriptions of women, like problematic descriptions of women. I don't know. We'll see. But I think that there's a chance I could really have a lot of fun with this. So I want to try it. It's also huge, much bigger than the books I normally read. How long is this? I think it's, oh, maybe it's just under 500 pages. So that's not too bad. So we will try Fourth Wing as well at some point. This might be a good pick for me to do for that vlog video, because it could be a wild ride. So that is the last one that we have for this book haul. And thank you for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.